now we are going to see applications of thermal expansion, means in our daily life where we are going to see the thermal expansion. So very first application we are having, while laying rail tracks, a small gap is left between two successive rails. Why there is a small gap between the two successive rails? Because during summer there is a thermal expansion in the solid, and due to this thermal expansion in the solid, so that it can expand properly during summer, that is why some space is left between them. And if there is no space left between them, then there may be a cause of accidents due to the thermal expansion. So second application we are having, concrete floors are laid in small blocks with a small gap between them. Means whenever two blocks are there in the tiles, these two tiles are having some space between them. Why they are having some space between them? Because during summer they have to expand. Means solid tiles have to expand so that it can take the space while expansion. That is why there is space left between the two tiles. Okay, but if yes, there is no space between the two tiles, then tiles are going to crack like this. That is why always whenever there is a lid or there is a formation of the tiles on the floor, there is always some spaces left between the tiles, so that in summer they can easily take up that space and there is not the crack in the tiles. Next application of thermal expansion we are having, in summers the telephone and electric cables are connected between the two poles are intentionally kept loose. Whenever between the two poles these wires are kept intentionally loose. Why? Because as we know, during summer there is a expansion, and similarly in winters also there is a contraction of the solid, liquid or gas. Due to this contraction, they are intentionally kept loose, that whenever during winter they are going to contract, they will take the space and they can easily adjust itself, and they can contract easily without breaking or without snapping. Okay. So next application of thermal expansion we are having, that we are using the bimetallic strip in electric iron, electric geysers and electric ovens. Why we are using bimetallic strip? See carefully. Actually bimetallic strip is made up of two metals. Metals are brass as well as iron. For example, I am using electric iron for the long time. Means whenever I am using the electric iron, it will heat up very much obviously. But whenever I am using for the long time, the bimetallic strip also is going to heaten up very much, and due to this heaten up bimetallic strip, the brass expand more as compared to iron. While taking thermal expansion, there is a thermal expansion in brass as well as in the iron. So brass expand more as compared to iron. Whenever there is an expansion of brass and iron, it will remove the contact between the electricity and the electric iron, which starts to cool down the electric iron. Okay. So whenever the electric iron is going to cool it down, it will again make the bimetallic strip in the straight manner. But yes, whenever we are cooling the bimetallic strip even below the room temperature, in that case brass contract more as compared to iron. Clear? So that is why bimetallic strips are used in thermostats for the automatic control of temperature in electric iron, electric ovens, geysers as well as refrigerators also, in order to maintain the temperature in these materials. Okay. Even though bimetallic strips are also used in MCB, that is miniature circuit breaker, which is used in our main electric board, so that we can just maintain the temperature flow which is coming from the main electric poles into our house. In order to maintain it, we are using the MCB, and MCB also use the bimetallic strip in order to maintain the temperature. So next application we are having, whenever we are having any kind of metal pipes through which hot water is going to move, as the water is hot, so due to hot or due to the heat, the thermal expansion is there in the metal pipe. So always there is a space left between this metal pipe, so that whenever hot liquid or any hot water is going to move from this metal pipe, it can easily adjust itself during the expansion. Okay. So metal pipes are used for carrying hot water, steam or other hot liquids, have joint in form of loops at regular intervals. Means whenever there is a change in temperature or even there is a contraction or expansion in the temperature, even whenever we are putting the hot water or cold water into the metal pipe, there is an expansion or contraction in the metal pipes. In order to adjust itself in the expansion or in the contraction, there is a small loops so that it can easily adjust into it. And if there is no loops at the regular intervals, then there may be a damage of the metal pipes. Metal pipes may damage also. Next application of thermal expansion we are having, whenever we are going to just put the hot tea or milk into the thin glass, that thin glass walls are going to break due to the hot milk or hot tea. Why? Because the inner side of the tumbler expand due to the rise in the temperature. Means whenever we are putting the hot tea into the thin glass, that thin glass is going to break. Why? Because from the hot thing or from the hot tea, it is going to expand from inside. Due to expansion, because inside there is an expansion but outside temperature is normal, due to this change in temperature, there is a always breaking in the material. So as the surrounding expands less and inside expand more, due to this different expansion between the inside and outside, there is a breaking of the glass. So next application of thermal expansion we are having, there is always a space left between the sealed bottle. This much space is left between the sealed bottle which is containing a liquid. Why? Because during summer there is a thermal expansion in the liquid, so that there is a space for the thermal expansion. It can easily take up the space and show the thermal expansion in the summer. But yes, if there is a no space between the sealed bottle, then this sealed bottle may burst during the summer season. Because if there is no space between the liquid molecules, then there is a no space for the expansion also, and expansion is not there, the bottle is going to burst during the summer. So next application we are having, the steel girders supporting a bridge are not fixed in the walls of pillars. Means these bridges are not fixed to the walls of the pillars, they are just mounted on the rollers. Why they are having rollers, these kind of rollers? Because during summer, as we know, bridge is going to expand, solid is always going to expand. Whenever during summer there is an expansion, it is having some expansion gap between it. Means whenever during summer it is going to expand, it can easily take up the expand. Means the roller can easily move the bridge and move to this side, so that it can easily take up the space during summer. There is no damage in the steel girder, or you can say on the bridge. So next application of thermal expansion we are having, in order to make the wheel of the Tonga, this iron rim diameter is always less as compared to this wooden wheel diameter. Why? Because and whenever we are going to fit this expanded ring on the wooden wheel, it is going to adjust itself. Means afterwards there is a cooling effect. Means they are pouring the cold water onto it, and after cooling effect there is a contraction. It can easily adjust to the wooden wheel. So iron rim of the wooden wheel of the Tonga are made little smaller in diameter as compared to wheel, because whenever in order to fit the iron rim into the wooden wheel, this iron rim is firstly going to heaten up. Due to heaten up, there is an expansion in the ring. After getting cold, this iron rim can easily adjust itself into the wooden wheel. Next application we are having, car tires are always filled with less air during summers. Why? Because as we know, during summer there is a thermal expansion in the solid, liquid as well as gaseous also. Why we are filling it with the less air? Because as we know, during summer there is an expansion in gaseous also. In order to prevent the tire from the bursting, we are just filling the car tires with the less air.